my name is Bruno Oliveira and I work in the Play Games team, and we're here for a second episode of Play Games and NDK. So now we're going to talk about how to do achievements and leaderboard from your native game. So to recap from the last episode, what we have right now is you have your awesome game activity, which derives from native activity, and then we're implementing a few callbacks, and that class actually manages the game helper object. So you're just hooking up the callbacks, and then the game helper is actually doing the actual work. So how do you go ahead and unlock an achievement from there? So to unlock an achievement, first of all, you have to, the call that you want to make is on game client. You have a method that's called unlock achievement. So that's the method that you want to call on games client. So normally this is how you would do this. However, remember that your game is going to be running on a game thread that's different from the UI thread. So to prevent any synchronization problems, what we're going to do is we're going to write a method called post unlock achievement, and that method is going to call run on UI thread. And then that method is going to invoke the unlock achievement method on the UI thread. So that's the method that we're going to call from the native side. So next, since we have that method, all we have to do is call it from the native side. So to call it from the native side, we're going to need the achievement IDs. The achievement IDs can be obtained from the developer console, and they are these funny-looking strings that you see here. So these funny alphanumeric strings. So you're going to have one distinct string for each achievement that your game has. So once you have those, so in this case, this would be a game where you prove theorems and then you advance in your academic career. So once you have those IDs, all you have to do is call unlock achievement with those IDs. So first of all, you have to initialize all the JNI stuff. So we're going to assume that you have that ready. So if you don't know how to do that, you can take a look at the last video. So you have your Android app structure, you have your JNI environment, you have the activity object and the activity class. After you do that, all you have to do is just make a simple JNI call to the unlock achievements method. So we are just getting the method ID, then we're allocating a Java string that corresponds to that achievement ID, and then we're making the method call. And remember, and this is pretty important, we are also deallocating the Java string after we're done with it. And that's pretty much all there is to unlocking an achievement. Also, you might want to avoid repeated calls because JNI calls are somewhat expensive. So if you're running a tight game loop and you are calling unlock achievement all the time, you probably want to avoid that overhead. So one thing that you can do is actually keep a dictionary on the native side that tells you which achievement you have unlocked and which ones you don't know if you have unlocked or not. Whenever you try to unlock an achievement that you know you have unlocked, you can just return and not do anything. So you can do that using something like the string set class, which is great for in every way except the fact that it doesn't exist. So you actually have to implement your own string set structure in C++ in any way that you wish. You can use the standard template library, or you can use your own class. The important thing is avoid making JNI calls on every frame. This is one of the methods you can use to do that. Now let's talk about leaderboards. So when you have leaderboards, it's pretty much the same as achievements because the method calls are pretty similar. So you have the post submit score, which is made in the same way as post unlock achievement. So it's just run on UI thread, and inside of that we're posting to the UI thread, and then on the UI thread we're calling game client .submit score. So that's what's actually submitting the score. And then from native code, we're going to write a very similar method as in unlock achievement, which simply gets the ID of that method and then makes a method call and passes the score that you want to submit to the leaderboard. And then you call the method and you delete the local reference, and that's pretty much all there is to it. Now you have achievements and leaderboards in your native game. So thank you very much, and please watch our next episode in which we're going to talk about how to do more complicated stuff on the native side. Thank you.